and hope that this time with me will be equally beneficial for everyone here, and everyone could take away a few things from our topic today. The topic we chose today is Decode Your Inner Engineering with Ayurveda for the Peak Performance. And I want to thank you, Tom, for the kind words for me. I'm humble on this. And to start with the presentation today, I want to give you a brief about the presentation. So this presentation includes introduction, analogy, to understand what am I going to say in my main topic, body constitution and performance, and what are the factors which affect one's performance. And then we will be concluding the session, and I'll be talking on this for say around 30 to 35 minutes. And then we'll be open for the question answer session, so that if you have any question on this, so you can do that. And in the meanwhile, also, you can type your question in the chat if you think you're going to miss that by the end of the session. And the other point I wanted to share is that if you want to have recording of this session, please do chat your email address in the chat box so that I can send this presentation to you after the session. So let's warm up the session. How's the day going so far? Because here in California, it's 11:15. Somewhere it's 2-hour difference, and in Eastern Coast, it's afternoon. So I would like to ask, like, how's your day going so far? You can chat. You can just leave the comment in the chat box. And the other question I want to ask is your morning is planned or it is on a default mode? Great. Okay. And then what do you think? Your daily routines are most of the time fixed, or they vary according to the situations of the day? So few people are answering the thing, but I think to go really warming up, I need to ask really simple question. And that is, what kind of car do you drive? Because I think after 16, kids starts trying, but at the 19, they get their driving license. Either you are driving or you are having the, somebody who drives you to the different destination you want to go. So I think this is the answer, like, the most of the people have answered. Wow, Lexus, Toyota, Highlander, Benz. Great. And I'm so fascinated always that how everybody is so particular about when we talk about the vehicle, right? So my analogy for today starts with this. First of all, let's start with the topic that is engineering. The two main words are engineering and the performance. And we are trying to see the factors which is involved in our engineering. So with due respect to the engineers present here in the session, the study of using scientific principles to design and build and use various parts is what engineering is, whereas the performance is how well someone does their job and their duties. And today we are trying to decode these two in terms of a human body. What do you think? The build and designs are related to each other? Do they affect each other? Or what is your thought on this? Okay. So because we are talking about the analogy of the car, so let's see. So now I have two different designs in front of you. One is a racing car, another one is a Jeep. One is designed for speeding, race, winning, whereas other one is designed for its robust function. And for driving the racing cars, the roads are smooth because their base is very low. They are designed in such a way that even in sharp turns, they keep a balance and they go on the required speed. Whereas when we see the Jeep, it is designed for the rough roads where the roads are uneven. And if we have to see a racing road on uneven road and a Jeep on a racing track, what do you think would be the consequences? Definitely, the racing car will not be able to run on a speed, it runs on a leveled surface. Whereas for a Jeep, a sharp turn is really difficult and it might cause some kind of an accident. So, with this example, we saw that the build is directly affecting the performance. But this is in case of automobile. What do you think are the factors which affect one's performance? Can you chat your viewpoint before we start with the main body of the workshop today? What do you think, according to you, are the factors which affect the performance? So true, proper food, yes, maintenance. So what do you think? In humans also, the build is affecting the performance because we want our child to excel in every field. Though there is a beautiful story which depicts that fish cannot climb the tree and the birds cannot swim in the water. But do you think the build is also related with performance when we talk about the human being? Because that is what we are going to talk about today. And if yes, what do you think are the constituting factors in our body? I know whenever we talk about the diet, we talk about the carbohydrate, protein, fats, but still, I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the constituting factors of our body? No one wants to answer this question? Chemical makeup, right? Mind, body, and spirit. So true. That's right. You know, Ayurveda, if you're talking about the body constitution, yes. Now we are coming to the main point. As you know, that I belong to the science of Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is a science of life. And the basic principle which Ayurveda talks is that the components of the universe are similar as the components of a human being. And this is also said that the human being is a miniature of universe. This means that every component which is forming the universe is also present in the human being. So let's see what are these constituents. So these are mainly five in number, and they are space, air, fire, water, and earth. And these are the same components which are present in our body, and they are the main constituents in formation of our body. So in this picture, I have tried to show like how the five different components are forming the human being. And after this, let's go and see, because our main topic today is performance. So first, let's see the journal features of the five elements, and then we'll go towards the performance of this. Number one is space. Say, space is soft, it's subtle, light, clear, smooth, whereas air element is dry, fine, light, cold. And the terms which I have written in the Sanskrit, that means that it has the ability to go without being in the metabolic system. When we talk about the fire element, it is sharp, hot, fine, clear, and water element is always represented with its liquidity. It's cold but heavy, denser than the previous three elements. It has a mobility, but in comparison to air, it is viscous, it is sticky, it is slimy. When it comes down to Earth, Earth is strong, it's bulky, but the speed is low. It's denser than all the above four, and it is stable. In Ayurveda, these five different elements are represented in the three form, which is with the name of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. If you see this first two figures, these are comparatively slim, and they have a different body configuration in respect to the middle one and the last one. Middle one is more in proportionate, whereas if you see the last combination, this is more on a wider side in comparison to the first two. So Vata is termed as a combination of ether and air, whereas Pit is said to be the combination of fire and water, whereas Kapha is a combination of water and earth. But today, to simplify this thing and not to use the terminology which is very new to you and difficult to remember, I'm taking these five elements for our purpose of understanding the performance. So now we're going to see the performance factors. So these are the factors which directly affects the performance. Number one definitely is the body constitution, then is the work style and environment and the job responsibility. Work style, environment, and job responsibility, these are directly under the control of the body constituents. And when we talk about the body constitution, we are talking of the most dominant factor among the five. In everyone, all these five elements are present, but somewhere down the lane, one is dominant and the rest of the four follows the sequence. So here we are talking in terms of proportion, that which proportion is more in your physical body. So let's start with the first one, space. So as we talk, like in space, when the space element is dominant, your body type is more on a slimmer side. The frame is usually longer in comparison to the rest too. And when we talk about the work style, they are creative, they are innovative. They look for the details in one's work. They are more into the quality. They handle the situation tactfully. Their communication skills are good. They do not talk much, but they talk with lots of facts in that. They do the informational search. Their listening skills are good, but they are little different in comparison to the water element, and they love to impact the field in which they work. They love to work in individual focus work environment. And when it comes down to the job responsibility, they one has to respect their need of autonomy. They does not like to be given command. They just want that freedom and a space to work, and they don't like much of the interaction during their work. They are emotionally reserved, and they only appreciate the sincere appreciation. So these the people with dominant space elements are more of the dreamer and the researcher, and they are also the disruptor in the respective field because they can go towards the depth of the thing and think of the things in from the out of box perspective which other people are not thinking, and space element is behind that work. When we talk about the air element, the body shape is quite parallel with this shape, but their skin texture and bodily functions are slightly different from the previous personality. Now, they always come up with the new ideas. They are more concerned about the order of the thing. They have a short attention span, so they are more task oriented than the goal or project oriented. They are good in negotiation skill. They are good in time management because they do not like the prolonged conversation. So they always make it to the point so that the thing should be shorter. Their communication skills are good. They like to work in a fast paced environment, and they're more like an enterprising environment in their work culture. And in job responsibilities, they make connections really fast, and they just love to have 2 to 3 minute conversation. They love to initiate the talk. They do not like the people who waste the time. They like to have more of the written details because air is mobile. It is not very stable. So the idea come and goes. So when they write it down, they can revisit that idea. So that's why the written details are really important for them. And always allow these person to verbalize their thoughts and feeling because maybe after 10 minutes they do not remember what they said. Then we come to the fire element. Now you can see a difference in the body shape. They are more of a muscular built type of personality, and they are the one which is into the bodybuilding, wrestling, when we talk about the body shape. Work style, they are more strategic in their planning. They are the person who love to take risk. You can rely on their decision making. They are motivational to their group. They love to influence. When it comes down to analytical concepts, they are good in that. In communication, if you have to deal with some project with diplomacy, they are the right person to deal with that. And they are good with the management of the things. They too love to work in a fast-paced environment, and they love investigative environment more. Working with them, you have to be clear with your expectation and what are the rules they need to follow. You need to show them some competence. You have to keep your conversation light because they are short temperamented people. If you are repeating the things again, so they are not going to like that. Their working standards are really high. So whenever you are working with them, it is highly appreciable if you show some importance to them that makes them feel better and work much more efficiently. Then is the water element. Now you can see a major difference because in water and earth dominant personalities, they are a little bit wider than the previous three personalities. And definitely the bodily functions, the way they think, their mental body, they all are correlated. So whatever element is dominant on their physical body and the respective body, they will gonna work in that particular way. Work style, these people are flexible with the routine. They easily get adapted to the changes. They are creative. Their communication skills are very good because they are really sound listeners. They have a patience. They do have empathy. So if there is a difficult situation and the person with the water personality is present there, they can manage that emergency or difficult situation in much more better way than the rest of the four elements. Their interpersonal relationship skills are very good. They listen to you patiently. That makes the other people feel heard. And that's how they are always good in making up their relationships in the personal environment and in the professional environment. They too look for the details, but the way they work is very different from the space dominant personality. Water loves to work in team. They love to socialize. If the artistic factor is there, so they are much more involved in that workspace. What you have to consider while giving the job responsibilities, you have to make them stick to the topic. Be relaxed and social with them. Don't be formal because they can judge that thing. They love humor. So using humor with them is great. They are highly dependable. So you can depend upon certain things, but you need to remind them the topic again. That is one point you have to keep in mind. These people are really warm and supportive, and let them know how you want the things because they are the good listener, so they listen to you and try to meet the expectation the other person have from them. The last personality is earth dominant personality. As the shape of the water and earth looks similar, but the skin texture, their features, their bodily functions have a quite difference when we talk about the internal part of that, or you can say the componental part of the body. The work style, they love to work in team. They're customer oriented. They do manage, they do work with the work management, but they love to sit and coordinate their subordinates. They don't like those moving things which is seen by the other personality. They love to do service. They do listen, but sometimes you see them listening, but maybe they are not listening because that is what they are. They are also into the quality control. They are social, and you can depend upon their decision making because they always take time in decision making. They are never instant with their action. They think through the things and then they take the decision. They also love the team based work culture. They are realistic, they are social, and they're more a conventional, the working style is more conventional when it comes down to the environment and job responsibility. You have to approach them formally because if you visualize earth in front of you, it has its own shape, density. So you cannot be informal with that. You have to give that dignity to them. That's why if you're giving them the public recognition, they always love that thing. They always want to look on the background information and facts. You have to give them time to get prepared. You have to be very clear with the deadlines with them. You have to provide a consistent and a secure environment to these people. And yes, you have to lead them with a sample that how you want to have that particular thing done. So in these slides, we talk about the various factors which affect one's performance and their job responsibility. So what would be the reason if somebody is performing moderate or their performance is not what is desired? So if we just go back to the categories, so one has to recognize that what are the strengths of this person. If you are choosing this person for certain kind of a job, is it the strength of this person, or are you talking to work on his limitation? Because if you want to have a peak performance and you want the optimal performance from your subordinate or your team, you have to provide them the work style which is their strength. The culture, the environment has to support that person. The job responsibilities given to them and the instruction given to them has to be what their strengths are, because in clothing section we have come across that one fit is not for everyone. Then when it comes to training, why all the trainings are one fit for all? Everybody doesn't learn in the same way, everybody doesn't do the work in a similar way, everybody has their own style. And I feel, and I have experienced this in my previous experience, that when you are not given the proper job, you are not into the right job responsibility or a position, you feel suffocated in that environment. You sometimes are unable to see that why you are not able to perform in that particular scenario. There are beautiful different studies which talk about the work style, the environment, the behavior of the person, and you fill the questionnaire and you can come to know about that. But I have my work behind that, and everybody reads the question, but everybody understands in a different way. It is not similar for everyone. So sometimes the answer may be close to the correct option, but sometimes it is not. But sometimes I have seen, like going through those exercises, that you don't have enough options according to your work style, and you need to compromise with one of the option. So sometimes having those things accessible, but it becomes difficult for the person who wants certain type of a job done, and they cannot interview each and every person, but the parameters are different in every field. But if you know the engineering of that person, the build of that person, you can come to know about these things very easily. So my observation and my experiences, when you are not in the right place, that is the time you are not connected to yourself, and disconnection to your own self brings a lot of stress, energy, anxiety to your own self. And these are the things which cloud, which fog your mental energy, and you are not able to see the things clearly, and you end up into burnout, depression, or so many other features. Let me try to give you an example on this, that there is some project. So there is a new innovation which is supposed to come, and we are forming one team. And idea in that sprint session, the idea is given for the idea team. We have the air and space elements, and we do have other people. Everybody is giving idea and they're noting it down. And then we passing on those idea to the air and water element people, those who can break down into the steps, which is the doable step, and then we pass on that project to the water and earth element dominant people who can sit and implement. And just to more simplify this and break down this, to air element people, you cannot expect them to sit for 8 hours at a reception. And for a earth element, you cannot expect him to go for a marketing thing. You are opting for the opposite choices. And just to give an example more further down, because we have taken an analogy of a car. In cars, when the person who is in a sales department, he is doing really good because that is what he like and that is what his body type is supporting him, and he's doing so good that he's been promoted and then promoted, and now this person is manager. Now he's no more selling, he's no more talking, he's no more moving. He has to sit on a chair in a chamber and he has to just do all the paperwork. See how a peak performer is now put in a situation where the person is same, the performance level will be same, but because
Alexa, stop.
Excuse me. So the environment is different. The job responsibilities are totally opposite to what that person can contribute to that organization. So if we are making this according to what they are best in, what their strengths are, definitely the performance will be optimal. And this will be so satisfactory for that person that every moment and every day is contributing to the organization or the team in which that person is working. With this, you might be having the question like, how can somebody get benefit with this? It is only about the organization, or is it only about the professional thing? It is helpful when it comes down to your personal relationship. If you know what are the dominant factors in your partner, in your kids, you know, that irritation, because if you are in a calmer phase, you are in a peaceful state of mind, then you can see that you are not saying the right thing to this person. You are not asking for the right job from this person. And you will be able to distribute work in a different fashion. And maybe that would help to achieve that thing in a lesser time than you are doing to the opposite person. If you are hiring someone's service, you can see that what kind of a job, what kind of a personality is required for this work. And you're looking onto the people, you can see like, how this person will going to perform this duty. Is this work requires more of a movement, or this is require a stability so that that person can understand and take proper time to see all these things. So this is really important for everyone. So my concluding term will be, yes, clarity is the key for professional growth, but awareness is the secret ingredient for peak performance. If you're aware about yourself, if you are aware about the people around you, you can help them achieve their goal or their purpose of life. With this, I would like to thank you, everyone who patiently listened to me. And one thing which I would like to know that I'll be conducting these webinars once every month. So if you can chat and tell, like, how would you like to see body constitution relation in terms of what would you like to have? Diet, circadian rhythm, relationship, or team building. You can just write 1, 2, 3, 4 also, so that we can see and we can address to the topic which you want to listen rather than me giving which is not relevant to your life. So I'm so thankful for your time, and this is my contact. You can contact me at this email if you want to know more about the things. And this is the way how I work. So with this, I will stop, and I would request Mr. Tom to start with the question answer session.
Dr. Katoch, these were vital principles and so helpful. I have a couple of questions that are already posted. We have several, actually, very good questions. I just wanted to ask you about coaching. Um, in personal coaching and are you able to delve deeper into these principles and maybe help people discover what their type is and how they can practically apply these principles to their life?
Yes, yes. This is like, how Ayurveda works, because we always start with the body analysis, and that's how we can help them to enhance their health, or they can be proactive towards their health. And simultaneously, if somebody is having certain body condition, so they can take the corrective measurements towards that.
Excellent. That may answer the question that Tajal asked. How can I find out what type I am? It's a process, isn't it?
Yes, so they can contact me on my email, and I can send them my calendar link. So we can start with the pre-discovery call of 30 minutes, and then we can see, like, what are their requirements and what we need to work on.
And I know that you're putting your email on your slide, but if you could type it into the chat box, Dr. Katoch, then they can, it'll be easier for them to find. I think this probably answers Raja's question. How can I identify myself among these three qualities? And but the follow-up on that was, can we have a specific diet plan and lifestyle according to my constitution? That's a good question, isn't it?
Yes, and I always, like, when I said that I started with the analogy, and I'm talking to people most of the time when you talk about any question to them, this is sad, but they don't know about their body. And just ask them about their car or the automobile they are driving. Their face get lighten up, they get so shiny. They are talking about the model, the size and performance, all the things. So that's why I always ask them, do you fuel your vehicle with the right thing? Like,
Yeah.
you cannot put diesel in petrol and gasoline in diesel, right? You need the right. So why not when it comes down to the body? Why we are not concerned about this? This is the greatest vehicle for this lifetime. So why not to upgrade that and work on that to achieve your goals in life?
Super. Now I know that you're not in HR, and you're not here to advise people on what's legal to ask, but there is a question about fitting the right person with the right task and using these principles in terms of assigning people the right kind of work to do. Is this a principle that you can use as a team builder, as an employer, as a leader in industry?
Yes, definitely, because I believe in simplicity of learning. Like, if I have to learn 10 things to do one job, so it is difficult, but this particular foundation gives you the notion to help understand people around you. It is not only about the work that you have to deal with the people, because I personally believe if you are top at your professional life, you need to manage, you have to have a balance with the personal life. And this particular frameworks helps you to have the similar concept in the personal and professional life. Yes, in professional environment, we are too much into the performance because there we are together for certain project, for the certain task to accomplish. And these things definitely help you to understand and not overburden that person or giving them with the job responsibility they don't want to be in.
Well, that is super. Dr. Katoch, there are a number of endorsements of you here and compliments on your presentation. And I think that a number of people are asking to make sure that they can get the recording. You do need to type your email address in the chat. We are
Yes,
saving the
I
chat.
did. Yes, I did that, but I'm doing it again.
No, not your email address. They need to type their email address in so we can send them
But
the
you said
presentation.
mine, so I just did that.
Wait, you don't ever get too much of that. We thank you so much, Dr. Katoch, for, oh, here's another question. How important is mental and emotional state in regard to overall health and well-being? Does it affect fitness performance? That's a really good question from John.
Oh, yes. Thank you for such a good question, John. And definitely, because in Ayurveda, we always talk about the five body. What we see is a physical body. Next to this is energy body. Then comes emotional, mental, and then spiritual. Spiritual body is, I would say, is under the control of very highly enlightened people. I don't talk about those things. But yes, all these four bodies are interrelated. You cannot separate them from each other. This is the important principle in Ayurveda. And in my practice since 2012, I started visualizing this thing in my practice that none of the physical complaints or the discomfort was without the emotional thing involved in that. So I started working on those. And once you work on emotional body, your physical things start sorting out itself. It's not that, but when you are only working on the physical body and you are not looking onto the emotional angle, it is like you are not cutting the roots, you are not reaching the root of that particular thing. So if you're not working on the root, that weed is going to multiply. Because this is always said, like, generally, if you ask somebody, like, that you didn't grow anything in your backyard, what will be there? So people usually answer nothing, but that's not true. Weeds come there, right? It's not the plant which needs the daily work, it is the weed which daily needs to be, like, removed from that place, so that the right plant should get the nourishment. In similar way, we do take care of our physical hygiene, but we do not consider the emotional hygiene, which is so important. Sometimes your mental body needs the right or knows the right answer, but emotional body is in between these two body, and it is so dancing badly, it is so foggy and dense that it doesn't allow your own sage to come to you and talk about that. So definitely the emotional body is so important while we are dealing with the body.
Now, this is all the written questions. Would anyone prefer to unmute themselves and ask a question? Not everyone at once, but we maybe you raise your hand and get recognized, but I think you have the power to unmute yourself. Let me just make sure of that. Yeah, you do. Anybody? Or have we answered all the questions? Yes, sir. Please do.
Yeah. So I am one that is being coached by the doctor right now. I'm in my finish of my third week. And, I said in the chat, I'm an experienced person in fitness and health. It's been 45, 47 years I've been in it. And when I started it, I was apprehensive, and I'm 3 weeks into it. I'm pretty shocked at the results that I'm receiving. And one of the things that I found is that for me is some of the emotional and mental issues that all of us deal with, some anxiety or just life, that hits us. There are ways for us to handle those, to treat those on our own, if we learn and have the tools to do it. And I'm finding that that's affecting my sleep performance. And when my sleep is better, my days are better. And so I'm seeing, pretty shocking results after those 3 weeks. And the other thing I actually asked her about a week or so ago, and I wanted to ask in this session, is how does herbs and specific foods affect certain areas of pain or weakness? And also, how do you evaluate vitamins and minerals and supplements and things of that we take also? And I'll leave you with that.
Thank you so much, John, because I know when you start working, you don't expect number of things, but Ayurveda is a deeper science, and it definitely takes you for a deeper dive than one can think of. When it comes to diet, Ayurveda has specified a lot of things, and generally, whatever we say from what we have learned. Ayurveda is an age-old science, and people say it doesn't talk about the vitamins and the other stuff. But when you go deeper into the science, it is not only the herbs which is being used in Ayurveda. They use different metals, they use different minerals, they use they use conch, they use different things. And it is a pure calculation. When somebody comes with certain condition, there are certain factors. They are in certain age, certain season aggravates their certain condition, and they are with that particular condition from number of years. It's not like that if something is acute or in last few days, it can be dealt easily. But if it is chronic, you have to give them. And this is all the part of calculation. When we talk in journal, we can talk up to some extent, because when it comes to diet or ingesting anything, even in herb format, there are set foundational principles. But when it comes down to the personal needs, they are customized, and all the factors which are involved in that, they are the part of that calculation. We are doing that. That's why, Ayurveda is more of a tailored recommendation. It is not one fit for all. We can categorize things into certain categories depending upon their dominant elements. But when it comes down to working on certain specific conditions, we have to be really precise. We cannot give ibuprofen for all the pains. This is not how Ayurveda works, because it works on cause and effect principle. So if something is affecting you, you need to find out that cause. And if that stress is making your liver functions low or poor, so we have to work on stress, not on liver, to enhance its mechanism, because root cause is different. So we talk about bringing the weeds out from the roots, not cutting the branches or leaves of that.
Thank you so much for that insightful answer. And thank you for that great question, John. It looks like we are coming to the close, Aruna and Dr. Katoch, and we are so grateful for everybody's presence. Do you have any closing remarks for this gathering of people?
Yes, I'm so grateful, because I'm just starting up with the things again. It's been 20 years in my like, the teaching and the work I do. But being in a new land and in a new space, I'm just trying to, be in the society, be of, person who can be useful for the community around that. And you people came and joined the session, and I'm grateful to you for this. And if you have anything, just reach me out. And whatever way I can help you, I'll definitely do that. And thank you so much for your time. It's such an important and a precious thing to share nowadays. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And